Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The sensex and the nifty end with minor cuts after a range-bound session. Mid-caps and financial stocks outperform. More than 70 people killed in Gaza and Lebanon in the last 24 hours after a fresh wave of Israeli attacks. UN peacekeepers remain in Lebanon, defying Israel's warning to withdraw. Netanyahu reportedly assured US officials that Israel will not target nuclear and crude oil facilities in Iran. Crude oil prices decline on demand concerns and the possibility of Israel attacking Iran. Brent dropping below $75 a barrel after top oil-producing nations lowered the demand outlook. The 28,000 crore rupee Hyundai IPO is open for subscription. Around 20% of the proposed offer has been subscribed on day one. If successful, this will be India's largest IPO yet. A sharp escalation in the diplomatic row between India and Canada. Both countries expel each other's ambassadors after the Canadian police accuse India of working with criminal organizations to kill 6 separatists. India's External Affairs Ministry dismisses the charges, terming them preposterous. Election Commission announces Assembly election dates for Maharashtra and Jharkhand. All 288 Maharashtra seats will vote in a single phase on the 20th of November. Jharkhand will see two-phase voting on the 13th and 20th of November. Results for both Assembly elections to be announced on the 23rd of November. Prime Minister Modi inaugurates the 8th edition of the India Mobile Congress. Akash Ambani says Reliance Jio is laying the groundwork for national AI infra. Sunil Mittal calls for laws to ensure satellite companies pay license fee and buy spectrum. Kumar Birla says Vodafone Idea has kick-started the capex cycle after a recent fundraise. The US dollar will not be dislodged as the international currency, says Augustin Carstens, the head of the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank to all global central banks, played down the threat of a recession or financial instability. That's an exclusive. India's Department of Consumer Affairs notifies new guidelines to prevent claims of greenwashing by companies. Companies using terms like eco-friendly or organic in ads will need to substantiate those claims with evidence. Well, let's start with the market action for the day. The Sensex and the Nifty ending with minor cuts. This after a range-bound session. The Sensex lost over 150 points and the Nifty was down by about 70 points. Mid-caps and financial stocks did fare slightly better than the blue chips, but that was the market snapshot for the day. But the big global story that we continue to track: more than 70 people have been killed in Gaza and Lebanon in the last 24 hours. This after a fresh wave of Israeli attacks. At least 45 Palestinians were killed in northern Gaza as Israel sieged a refugee camp, and that entered day 11. The UN peacekeepers remain in Lebanon, defying a warning from Israel to withdraw. According to reports in the Washington Post and Wall Street Journal, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu has reportedly assured US officials that Israeli forces will not target nuclear and crude oil facilities in Iran. Israel has promised to retaliate after Iran launched a barrage of missiles at Tel Aviv earlier this month. Oil prices slip as OPEC has lowered its outlook for global oil demand growth in 2024 and 2025. This is the producer group's third consecutive downward revision of the world's oil demand estimate. Now, reports say that Israel is looking to strike only Iranian military bases and not nuclear or oil targets. That has eased some supply concerns as well. The price of Bitcoin surging now above the $65,000 mark after the disappointment over China's stimulus measures drove investments into cryptocurrency markets again. The liquidation of short positions in the past 24 hours has also driven the crypto's price higher. Demand for Bitcoin among traders has steadily risen since April. It's now 12% from an all-time high. The US dollar will prevail as the main currency in the international financial system, and that's the word coming in from Augustin Carstens. He's the head of the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank to all global central banks. He feels there is no currency that is more reliable than the dollar. In an exclusive conversation with CNBC-TV18, Carstens also played down the threat of a recession or financial instability. Take a look.
At the end of the day, the dollar has developed the main avenues. At the end of the day, financial transactions depend on the credibility of the currency. And at the international level, there is no more credible and reliable currency than the US dollar. And my strong feeling or belief is that the dollar will prevail as the main payment, main currency in the international financial system.
Well, moving to aviation now, regulator DGC has removed SpiceJet from the enhanced surveillance regime. This after the airline successfully raised 3,000 crore rupees through a qualified institutional placement. The regulator will continue to conduct random spot checks of SpiceJet's operational aircraft to ensure safety. The DGC has said that the airline has also rectified deficiencies flagged during the 266 spot checks conducted as part of the enhanced surveillance. So good news coming in there for SpiceJet. Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the 8th edition of the India Mobile Congress. The event has seen telecom service providers and top communications companies in attendance. Akash Ambani said Reliance Jio is laying the groundwork for national AI infra. Bharti Airtel Sunil Mittal called for laws to ensure satellite companies pay license fee and buy spectrum. Ashmit joins us now with the key takeaways from the Mobile World Congress.
Well, I'm coming to you from India Mobile Congress 2024. Here are the numbers. There are over 3,000 delegates from over 160 countries. We're talking about 400 exhibitions, over 900 startups. The reason that we have these big numbers is that the IMC is being combined with the WTSA. WTSA, of course, being the prime governance body for establishing standards. This moment was marked by none other than the Prime Minister himself. He talked about India is quote-unquote the most happening place as far as telecom is concerned. Went on to say that as far as standard setting is concerned, as far as growth of technology is concerned, it cannot be the baby of any one country. All countries need to work together. And speaking of working together, Jyotiraditya Scindia, the telecom minister, speaking of about how India is well on its path as far as 4G is concerned. 5G rollout has been the fastest in that it will lead the world when it comes to the rollout of 6G technology.
2 साल पहले मोबाइल कांग्रेस में ही हमने 5G लॉन्च किया था। आज भारत का करीब-करीब हर जिला 5G सर्विस से जुड़ चुका है। आज भारत दुनिया का दूसरा बड़ा 5G मार्केट बन चुका है और अब हम 6G टेक्नोलॉजी पर भी तेजी से काम कर रहे हैं।
AI is absolutely critical for realizing our dream of a Viksit Bharat by 2047. At Jio, we have begun our efforts to bring benefits of AI to every Indian, just as we did with mobile broadband. We are committed to democratizing AI, offering powerful AI models and services to everyone in India at affordable prices. Towards this end, we are laying the groundwork for a national AI infrastructure.
Telecom companies around the globe have done a seminal work in connecting the world. They will take the satellite services into the remotest parts of their nations through the USO program and directly through themselves. And those satellite companies who have ambitions to come into urban areas serving elite retail customers just need to take the telecom licenses like everybody else, be bound with the same conditions. They need to buy the spectrum as the telecom companies buy. They need to pay the license fee as the telecom companies do, and also secure their networks like telecom companies do. This is a simple solution which can be done on a global scale, and India can again show the way in this particular regard.
Company's 18,000 crore FPO, marking the largest of its kind in India, was met with overwhelming enthusiasm. It was oversubscribed 7 times overall and an astonishing 19 times amongst institutional investors. The surge in demand culminated in a total bid for approximately 93,500 crores across various investor categories. The fundraise has enabled the company to kickstart again its capex cycle. Vodafone Idea has already announced the next phase of capex detail worth $3.6 billion with 3 global partners, Nokia, Ericsson, and Samsung.
Well, the action there from the Mobile India Congress. Now, Hyundai Motor India's initial public offer opened for subscription today. The auto major has raised 8,315 crore rupees from anchor investors, with total subscription reaching 20% on day one as of 4 p.m. Sudarshan is here with more on the mega IPO. Sud.
So it's the biggest ever initial public offering of Indian market that Indian market has ever seen. Hyundai Motor India's rupees 28,000 crore IPO has opened for subscription today and will close on October 17. Listing on stock exchanges is expected on 22nd of October, and from anchor investors, company has raised more than rupees 8,300 crore, and that came at the upper end of the price range of rupees 1865 to rupees 1960 per share. Some of the major anchor investors participated include Government of Singapore, Fidelity, ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, HDFC Trustee Company, SBI Mutual Fund, Vanguard, BlackRock and others. This IPO is a fully OFS issue, and through this, promoters are looking to offload 17.5% stake totaling 14.2 crore shares. And following this issue, promoter stake will reduce to 82.5% from current holding of 100%. And talking about the book details, IPO allocation includes 50% for qualified institutional buyers, 15% for non-institutional investors, and 35% for retail investors. For employees, company has announced a discount of rupees 186 per share to apply in the IPO. Now shifting to the internals, the earnings per share at the issue price stand at rupees 62.56 with a price to earnings ratio just above 26 times. So where do financials of the company stand in comparison to peers? On revenue front, in FY24, Hyundai India had a top line of rupees 70,000 crore against rupees 1.41 lakh crore of Maruti and rupees 1 lakh crore of M&M. On margin, it's almost at the similar level with Maruti at 13%, while M&M is leading the pack with 15%. The valuation metrics suggest that both Hyundai and Maruti have a PE of around 26 times, while M&M is slightly higher at 27.4 times for FY25. So what do brokerages say on the IPO? Most brokerages recommend subscribing to the IPO for long-term gains, noting that while the issue appears fully priced, they anticipate healthy double-digit returns over medium to long term. Lastly, if you can talk about grey market premium, we understand that the premium currently is around rupees 65 against a premium of more than rupees 550 that it saw in the last week of September.
All right, Sid, many thanks for joining us. That's Hyundai Motor, India's largest IPO. We will head into a break, but up next, a sharp escalation in the diplomatic row between India and Canada. Both countries expel each other's ambassadors after Canadian police accuse India of working with criminal organizations to kill Sikh separatists. Details when we return. The big national story, the Election Commission announcing assembly election dates for Maharashtra and Jharkhand. All 288 Maharashtra seats will vote in a single phase on the 20th of November. Jharkhand will see a two-phase vote on the 13th and 20th of November. Results for both assembly elections will be announced on the 23rd of November. This is going to be the big battle. Santya Gora joins us now with more. Santya, just over 30 days to go for the crucial polls. Who holds the edge in the battle for Maharashtra, and what will be the key issues that will dominate the campaign?
So, Shireen, these are going to be extremely interesting elections, and what the experts say that actual Game of Thrones will start once the results will be out. Now, why exactly all eyes are on Maharashtra? It's a crucial state for both BJP and NDA alliance, which is Mahayuti alliance in Maharashtra, and Mahavikas Aghadi alliance, that is the opposition alliance here. After Lok Sabha, MVA got a boost, and they kind of dominated the whole election narrative, but things changed for Mahayuti and MVA after Haryana results. After Haryana results, Mahayuti, especially BJP, got a morale boost, and unlike Lok Sabha, this time RSS is actively campaigning for BJP in Maharashtra, which is going to help Mahayuti as well as definitely BJP. Now, why Maharashtra is extremely important, but this time what's going to happen because of what all has happened in the last 5 years, broken parties, broken alliances, formation of new parties, changing loyalties, all these things are likely to confuse Maharashtra voters. One thing, Shireen, which we have noticed as we travel told through the length and breadth of the state in all these years that Maharashtra voters are now confused that which party, what ideology they're actually voting for, because everything changes after the election results are out. Talking about the key election issues, Maratha reservation, caste dynamics, inflation, poverty, welfare schemes, infrastructure development, communal angle, all these issues are going to dominate the election this time. But the fact is that Maharashtra voters continue to remain confused because of the changing alliances and all the absolutely unusual partners coming together and forming an alliance.
All right, Sante, yes, there is that confusion that prevails on the ground given the many permutations and combinations that the voters have had to contend with. But thanks very much for joining us. Election dates out for Maharashtra and Jharkhand. India's Department of Consumer Affairs has notified new guidelines to prevent claims of greenwashing by companies. Companies using terms like eco-friendly or organic in ads will need to substantiate those claims with evidence. Abhimanyu standing by with more details. Abhimanyu, take us through what the department intends to do.
Clean, green, natural, pure, organic, any such adjective which is usually affixed as far as products are concerned, be it online or offline sales, can now only be affixed if adequate reason is provided by the manufacturer or advertiser. The Department of Consumer Affairs has come out with a set of guidelines to define greenwashing, which essentially has been defined as deceptive or misleading practice which involves concealing, omitting or hiding relevant information by exaggerating or making false or vague claims. Now, greenwashing is something which is now being opposed as per the guidelines which have come out in the public domain, in which any such terms like natural, pure, organic, sustainable, eco-friendly, cruelty-free, good for the planet or regenerative cannot be used without adequate reason being affixed as far as the advertisement is concerned. If at all companies making or selling such products fail to comply with the guidelines, they would be liable for prosecution under the Consumer Protection Act. Also, class action as well as individual action by the CCPA is also possible if the violations are found beyond such guidelines along with other rules and the Consumer Protection Act. The advertisers making such claims will have to disclose reasons behind the advertisement. It remains to be seen how early any further clarifications would be issued by the government as far as the ambit of the newly notified rules is concerned, and which all companies would be covered under its domain.
Abhimanyu, many thanks. Now, the ongoing diplomatic tussle between India and Canada over the murder of a Khalistani activist in June last year has seen a sharp escalation in the last 24 hours. Both countries have expelled each other's top ambassadors. The Canadian police has accused the Indian government's diplomats of working with the criminal organization to kill Sikh separatists. India's External Affairs Ministry has dismissed charges as preposterous and called it a political agenda of the Trudeau government. The External Affairs Ministry had even summoned top Canadian diplomat to South Block last evening. Pariksha joins us now with more. Pariksha, diplomatic tensions between Canada and New Delhi escalating, a lot happening in the last 24 hours, swift and fast developments taking place.
India-Canada ties have hit an all-time low. Canada has said that the Indian High Commissioner Sanjay Kumar Verma and 5 other diplomats were actually involved in the killing of Khalistani activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India has called this charge preposterous. The Canadian police claims to have uncovered clear and compelling evidence that Indian agents threatened the safety of Canadian nationals. India's MEA, in response, has said that all of this is being done to serve the political agenda, vote bank politics of the Trudeau government. India has lodged a strong protest by withdrawing its High Commissioner and 5 other diplomats. The MEA also announced that 6 top Canadian diplomats have been asked to leave the country by Saturday. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police has said that it has shared evidence of the involvement of Indian government agents in serious criminal activity, and that significant amount of information about the breadth and depth of criminal activity orchestrated by the Indian government agents was recently given to Indian officials. They have said that Indian diplomats clandestinely collected information to target South Asian communities, including Sikh nationals of Canada. They even allege that Indian government used the help of organized gangs, including Lawrence Bishnoi gang, to carry out violent crimes on Canadian soil. Indian government sources have said that Canada has been making vague accusations without providing evidence, and that it is shocking that Canada is now targeting
the Indian High Commissioner, who has actually been engaging intensively with the Canadian government over the last 12 to 13 months. When asked if Canada will consider sanctions against India, the Canadian Foreign Minister in a press conference said that all options were on the table. At the same time, the Export Promotion Minister of the Canadian government has said that the government will work closely with Canadian businesses to ensure important economic connections with India remain strong. This is an important statement because it shows that Canada wants to continue the economic and financial side of the relationship. Now, India and Canada have had extensive ties. Indian diaspora accounts for 3% of the Canadian population, with over 2.8 million people of Indian origin. Indians are the highest number of foreign students in Canada at 4,27,000. Canadian pension funds have invested $54 billion in India. In terms of bilateral trade, in 2023, it was almost $10 billion, and in 2024, it is $3.1 billion so far. More than 600 Canadian companies have business in India, and 1,000 others are pursuing businesses in India as well. Now, the Indian government is of the view that if Canada puts any kind of visa restrictions or sanctions in India, it will not hurt the Indian economy because we have matured, but definitely it will hurt business-to-business ties between the two nations.
As the RCMP Commissioner stated earlier, they have clear and compelling evidence that agents of the Government of India have engaged in and continue to engage in activities that pose a significant threat to public safety. This includes clandestine information gathering techniques, coercive behavior targeting South Asian Canadians, and involvement in over a dozen threatening and violent acts, including murder. This is unacceptable.
Well, Justin Trudeau, the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, has landed in Pakistan's capital Islamabad for the 23rd meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This is the first time in nearly 9 years that an Indian foreign minister has visited Pakistan. Top leaders from SCO member states will attend the two-day summit, where stringent security measures have been imposed. And before we wrap, heavy rains lashing Chennai and large parts of Tamil Nadu. Schools and colleges are shut in Chennai today, and a red alert is in place for tomorrow as well. There is waterlogging in parts of the city. Road and rail services have been thrown off gear. Flight services have been disrupted, with 8 flights being cancelled as things currently stand. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. Do stay tuned. We are back in a moment with more.